We get a lot of questions that come up time and time again from you guys that are watching the videos and other agents in the industry that are keen to learn and to grow, and for those people that are not agents at all. So I thought today it would be great to bring on the first ever agent at Dawson Barker, Andis, here to answer a few questions about how it's been as a new agent in the industry, and hopefully that provides you with a bit of colour as to what we're getting up to here at Dawson Barker whilst we're trying to build the biggest real estate brokerage in the world. But before we jump into all of the questions, make sure you subscribe, like and comment on the video. The likes are especially important. Whilst I'm rambling right now, just go down there and press the like button to help me out in the YouTube algorithm. And with that being said, let's get straight into the questions. Stick around right until the end to find out how much money Andis has made in real estate so far and how much I've made so far. Because I thought it'd be great for Andis just to introduce himself and let you guys know how he's got to where we are today. Andis?
Thanks, Bart. Yes, I actually moved here from Greece a couple of years ago, started going to uni, found a part-time job at a restaurant and decided that I want to get into real estate. Reached out to Bart and here we are, landed a job as a first agent. Actually done my first deal as well, so yeah.
Very good, very good. So Andis, first broker to join the business. He's doing the first viewings, the first bits of marketing, has done our first deal as well. So very, very, very positive. So why don't we jump into some of these questions? I think a good one to start with here from George. Thank you very much, George, for your question on Instagram. Make sure you follow both of us on Instagram. What's your vision for the next 2 to 3 years? So I think you should answer this from an agent point of view, and then I'll answer it from a brokerage point of view. What is your vision, your personal vision for the next 2 to 3 years?
I think most important for me is to develop my skills, obviously, in the next couple of years, build my network, and the goal is to do my first super prime deal.
Super prime deal. So you want to do 10 million plus?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, that's how we say it in London. Super prime is 10 million plus, prime is 5 million plus. And so in the next 2 to 3 years, you want to do a 10 million plus deal?
At least one.
At least one. Fine. That's good. I think it's good to have individual goals. As an agency, as a brokerage, we're constantly developing technology in the background to help our agents, such as Andis. And so I really want to grow this at a huge scale, expand past London. Obviously, London is going to be the heart and core of everything that we do. But I have ambition to actually create agency hubs around London as well, in Surrey, Berkshire, Kent, all the home counties that surround us, and then obviously go international as well into Europe. And so whether that happens in the next 2 to 3 years, I don't know. It all depends on various factors that I have to consider as a business owner, funding, ideas, the time to do all of this stuff as well. But essentially I'm trying to think big with the whole brokerage. Just got a helicopter going past, so
I think he's
don't worry about
actually
that.
land here, I think.
But just to circle back to the whole question, the next 2 to 3 years, how does that look? I'm thinking big, Andis is obviously thinking big. We want to go big with the whole brand, Dawson Barker, and also develop as people as well. I want to lose some weight. I want to read more books. I want to be a bit more present. There's a lot of things that we're working on the personal side as well as the business side. But essentially, the plan is to go as big as possible, build an incredible team, and I think that pretty much sums it all up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you want to read one of your questions out?
What is your opinion on social media in real estate?
Social media in real estate. I guess we think it's important. That's why we're sat in front of you. It's a tool that amplifies everything that you do as an agent. You can't mistake it as a substitute for hard work. You still have to really grind as an agent and do the cold calling, do the emailing, do the leaflets, do everything else. And when you succeed as a result of your hard work as an agent, you can then spread that success around and amplify it using social media. I think that's the main benefit of it. I don't know at the moment if you can sell listings using social media. There's certainly a chance, and you certainly get in touch with certain people through social media, but the core functions of an agent, you really got to work hard on those and refine those before, not before going on social media, but before expecting anything from social media. I think social media, in my opinion, just sort of amplifies and boosts everything that we do behind the scenes. So it's a great tool, and it can really help grow your network at a large scale. If, for example, you haven't been an agent for 40 years, that's what it's helped me do, for example. A lot of people know about me as the guy on YouTube. As cringy as it is and as annoying as some of these videos are, it gets my name out there. But I don't think it replaces anything that we do as agents. I think it just amplifies everything in quite some way. What do you think? How have you found social media so far?
Yeah, I think you covered most points, but it helped me so far to connect with people. And as I'm new in the industry, it's quite hard to go out there and speak to agents and speak to people as a new agent, but being out on social media helps you fast forward that massively.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main point for now.
Next question from Emily. How did you get your first listing? Do you want to tell everyone about yours?
Yeah, my first listing as an agent is actually in Knightsbridge, and it's a flat just next to Harrods. Found a client on LinkedIn, messaged him about 50 times until he replied. I've never met him as he's overseas, but we spoke on the phone, and he was on the market already with other agents. Got him to hire everyone, got the sole agency, and that's how it went.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good, pretty long process. And I think it's important to understand that that did not happen overnight.
Yeah, of course. Spoken to him for about 2 months, over and over, to decide how to go around it and get it right, not just have it listed for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a long process, and kudos to Andis for getting that. After 2 months of constant communication every day, it's all about following up in agency. And it was similar to my first listing for Dawson Barker as a brokerage. Obviously, prior to that, I had other listings at my previous company, but as a new business, our first listing ever to go live on Rightmove or on the platforms for any US viewers was a house for 8.5 million on Westbourne Grove in Notting Hill. And similar story, I was introduced to the client via a builder, which again just says everything about the network that you're building. I spoke to her, and I emailed her, and I called her, and I met with her in total about 1,000 times before she gave me the listing. And it was a process that took 3 months, or 2 to 3 months, to really get the listing properly. And so it was just pure determination, patience, perseverance, and following up, which is what I'm trying to instill into all the agents here, because it does work. And Andis found that out firsthand. If you follow up, if you persevere, and if you're patient, eventually things come through. They might come through in a week, they might come through in 3 months' time, or 3 years' time. It doesn't really matter, as long as you're consistent with people, you're adding value to them, you're providing them with value, and as I say, eventually it all sort of comes through. So that's really how it works. To circle back again to the question of how you got your first listing, I think for both of us it's just about perseverance and really going for it and following up. So great question, thank you, Emily. Andis, next one from you.
Next question from Ryan, asking how were the first few weeks at Dawson Barker? I think you can start.
Yeah, first few weeks at Dawson Barker were very interesting, huge learning curve. I've never started a proper business before. I've done bits here and there, but it was an interesting ride, to say the least. It was actually brutal compared to what I thought it would be. So much that you have to do on the administrative side of things. I was a good agent, and I still am a good agent, but I didn't realise how much administrative work and everything else was going on in the background of running a brokerage. And obviously the competition and people trying to shut you down, and not having any social presence, no track record, no big network behind you, made starting from a cold start extremely difficult. And so to get our first listing so quickly in at 8.5 million was a huge success. And so, yeah, I think it was just trial and error. It was brutal at times, it was stressful, but essentially it was a journey that I'm going to remember forever. It felt so good, being stuck in a tiny little office, trying to make something work and formulate some sort of plan and building our pitch. And yeah, it was good. We had a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, a lot of stress.
Yeah,
how would you say it? How would you describe it?
It was interesting for sure. Starting from coffee shops, and then from the coffee shops in a little box.
And before that,
in your living room.
Well, in my corridor.
In your corridor. Photo needs to go here. And going to the little small office on Westbourne Grove and trying to make something work, as you're saying. A lot of moving parts. I obviously was not an agent before, so I was trying to help Bart on setting up everything behind the scenes, at the same time as trying to learn how to be an agent and how to do viewings and how to tout properties and how to speak to clients. So it was
Big learning curve.
it was everything at the same time, but at the same time I learned a lot in the first few months.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's weird actually now that I think about it, because I came into running this business having previously been an agent, so I understood some parts of what was going on, or most of them. But Andis, not only did he join a brand new business with absolutely nothing going on, also he's never been an agent, so it must have been crazy for you as well, coming in every morning and what the hell is going on. But anyway, it was an interesting time I think for both of us, and we've come a long way. It's only been 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, it feels like it's been years now.
But
it's been only 6 months since then.
Yeah, so it's been fun to answer your question, Ryan. It's been fun, interesting, stressful, all of the emotions put into one. Yeah, that's it. So on to the final question, the juicy one that all of you have been waiting for. The juicy question comes from Penelope. How much money have you made so far, Andis?
Well,
Tell us.
Good question. Put it that way, it's not 0, but it's not 100,000. So somewhere in between, on the low end, 5 figures, I would say.
5 figures, somewhere in between 0 and 100,000 on the lower end. Great. Politician's response, that is. Well, I guess if you ask me how much money I've made as an agent so far whilst running Dawson Barker, it's like minus 4 million. But I guess before that I would, on average, in my previous role, make anywhere between £5,000 and £10,000 a month. I had months where I made a lot more than that because I sold new developments, and the commission structure was slightly different there. In my best month, again, I don't know who's watching this, so I've got to be careful, but I made multiple 5 figures. And obviously when I started, in my worst months, I'd make nothing. There's a funny story that I want to tell you. One day I was asked by my manager to buy him a fruit pot from the shop when I first started as an agent. And I went to buy the fruit pot and I checked my bank account. I didn't have enough money to buy it. I had like 80p in my bank account or something. I had to call my younger brother, who was like 15 years old at the time, and ask him to send me a £5 so I can buy my boss a fruit pot without having the embarrassment of saying that I couldn't afford it. And to go from that, moving into London, 17 years old, no money, no connections, nothing, to then eventually 2 years later having months where I was making 5 figures, sometimes multiple 5 figures, to now running the business. It's quite an interesting progression of income. And it's interesting because a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions thinking that all of my money comes from nowhere and from parents and all that sort of stuff, but it's not the case. I've been at the lowest of lows, and I did really, really well as an agent, and now I'm back down to 0 because I've started the business and put all my money into there. So my income as an agent has been a crazy roller coaster, but yeah, I guess that's a rundown of that. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment to help us out in the YouTube algorithm. And with that being said, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you.